Welcome back to Nightcap Chat, the pop culture podcast. We talk all things comic books, video games, movies, TV shows, and more. Today, we are unveiling and discussing our CGC 9.8 sleeper picks. I'm Blade O'Neill.
I'm Ken Brown.
I'm Lance O'Neill.
And of course, before we dive into it, just want to thank you all for taking the time to listen, like, and share, subscribe to Nightcap Chat. Without you guys, this wouldn't be possible. And thank you all for the positive feedback on last week's episode. We had Chuck Huber in the virtual Nightcap studios. We talked about anime. Really appreciate all the messages and kind words you guys had to say. And I think Ken, you even texted us about that. Somebody asked for our anime list.
Yes, one of my regular customers came up to me this week, says, dude, I really enjoyed your anime podcast. It's it brought back so many memories. There's a lot of things I want to check out and watch. And he asked me for the list of things we talked about. So when he comes in this Wednesday, I'm going to share with him the list that you sent over to me again too as well. Because I'm going, oh my gosh, that's awesome.
I actually listened to one of those the animes that you guys talked about.
Did you?
And it was one of the ones Blade suggested, which was Way of the House Husband.
Oh my gosh, no, you did it. How far did you get?
I did the first episode.
The first Netflix episode.
Which is 7
episodes.
episodes, whatever it is, yeah. So here's the problem with it. I'm not saying I don't like it. I don't think I was ready for the fact that it's not a real anime. It's almost
yes.
It's the manga, and it slowly and it kind of just threw me off the whole time.
Shoot, I should have brought that up again because I brought it up the first time I brought up a Nightcap Chat, and I forgot you weren't there. I said there's one thing you have to keep in mind before starting this is it's literally a motion comic.
Yeah, I didn't realize that, so I was just it was kind of awkward.
But the animation gets better. The animation gets better as it goes too. They start putting a little more money into it, and it's a little more stiff in the beginning, and then it smooths out as you go.
But it did have some. It was pretty good. It was pretty funny. Outside of that, but that part just kind of threw me off. I was like, wait, what's going on? I was so confused.
It's so good. I'm so excited. My heart is so happy in this moment. I'm just so stoked. I love that show so much. I watched it again since recording that episode. So I watched it too. What I did was last episode, I was excited to have Chuck Huber on, and my wife wanted to hear the episode. So episode 104 was the first episode of Nightcap Chat that I sat there and I listened to the whole thing.
Oh,
so
that's wow.
That was an experience.
4 episodes it took. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. That's how long it took. And I wish I'd done it sooner, but I'm here. I know what I said, but it's amazing. Going back, and I was like, oh, I forgot we talked about that. It only had been a couple of days. Because it's interesting because you're paying attention, but you're not paying attention at the same time. You know what I mean? You're, as a host, especially me, I'm trying to make sure we're on topic, and I'm looking at the time, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I said something that I have to cut out. And there's a lot more things going on in my mind than just the episode. So it's interesting what you immediately forget about. Yeah. You know, because I forgot one of the other animes you brought up with the robot lady or something. And I was like, yeah, that's right. I forgot Lance brought this up. So I had to go back and add it to the list that I sent Ken. But yes, it was a great episode. And if you guys are enjoying those recommendations, let us know on social media, Facebook or Instagram. And you can on Twitter, but we don't really pay attention to Twitter that much. So at the beginning of last week's episode, we talked about that we were doing this CGC 9.8 showdown, this contest of champions. And I think all of our books are here, right? They are in hand. Is that correct, gentlemen?
I hope so.
Yes.
I'm hoping that what's in this box is actually what I ordered and not some mispack.
Oh, match.
Ted's going to be unveiling with us.
And I go, oh, it's actually a Spider-Ham number 6 CGC 9.8.
Imagine if it's a first appearance of Iron Man or something. You're like, wait, what?
Oh yes.
Hey, I paid this price. It counts, right? Like
Well, gosh, I mean, you paid it.
that.
It does count. I
Okay, then he's gonna sell it for $100,000 because that's what that would probably be.
no, it has to be the book that he purchased. So before we do our great unveilings, we're gonna go over the rules of this. Was it? I guess it's sort of unofficial, friendly kind of contest. I don't know. We didn't really pick a prize or anything. So at the 1 month mark, 3 month mark, and 6 month mark, and we'll see if we continue to the 12 month mark. So are we doing recording date June 7th or publish date June 8th for the 1 month mark today?
I mean, what's it matter? You're gonna look at it on the 7th, the next month when we're recording.
Yeah.
So
Oh
you
yeah,
have
okay.
to do it the recording date.
So we're doing recording date June 7th, 6th, 7th, which also happens to be Liam Neeson's birthday, his 69th birthday. Happy birthday to
Nice.
Yeah, I saw him lean in the mic for that. Happy birthday to the greatest living actor of all time, Liam Neeson.
Oh, wow. That's a big one.
I had to put that in there somehow, and I knew the opportunity would present itself. Anyway, the rules here. So at the 1 month mark, 3 month mark, and 6 month mark, we're going to see how much growth, if any, these books experience. So what we're going to we're going to look at the previous 5 auctions. Of those previous 5 closed auctions, we're going to determine if there's any outlying anomalies in people just kind of listing something to sell it like in a few minutes by taking the average price of the last 10 sold books. And if any of those books sold below 20% below the average selling price, it does not count. Okay, that's a lot to take in. Don't worry about it. We will keep track of all of that for you so you don't have to do any of the math. And we're also going to talk about what we didn't buy. So this is going to be a fun little adventure to kind of follow and something to check in, for the rest of the year. And this was all Ken's idea. So I just want credit where credit's due. Ken presented this idea. I was like, yes, I absolutely love it. And this is already so much fun because we didn't tell each other what we even bought, and it's killing me that it's getting dragged out by me.
I really hope that all of our comics don't take like a year to do something. That would be like every time we do it, we're like, and it's about the same. Okay,
Yeah.
well,
it might land that way, and mine definitely has that potential. Mine, I see myself holding on to this for a few years. I could be wrong. Is there anything else I forgot to mention in our rules? We're also looking at US eBay. So just whatever comes up on just the US eBay site.
Shipping costs do not count.
Yeah, tax and shipping do not count. So
it's just pure what you paid for the book,
Mhm.
and then shipping's just additional. Don't worry about shipping because, I mean, that's just not really fair if you're buying it from someone who lives really far away, right?
Mhm.
I don't know if I bought. I mean, I'm pretty sure mine's from the US that I bought mine, but I'm not 100% sure. I didn't really pay attention to that. I feel like it had to have been for what I paid for the shipping, but everyone else bought it within the US, I'm sure, right?
Yes. No, I got it in 2 days. I couldn't believe it got here. So thank you, eBay seller. If you happen to be listening, I was pleasantly surprised when this showed up in the mail 2 days later. So that was.
Did any of you guys? Well, I know Ken hasn't, but Blade, did you look at your 9.8?
Yes, and I would not have graded mine a 9.8. I am.
That's what I was thinking.
I am an overly
I wanna
aggressive
open it
grade.
now and look at it.
I was
what
looking
did you
at
say,
mine.
Ken?
Now I want to look at mine and like examine it. I haven't even examined. All I know is that what I see in the picture.
Yeah, I'll point out what I see, and I was like, wow, this is all it takes to get a 9.8. Because I think
I felt.
I have a book over here.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's a 10. It is perfect. Next time you guys are over here, I'm gonna show it to you. And I will tell you, like, there's not a flaw in this book. Okay, like it's gonna blow your mind.
if this is a 9.8, I have tons of 9.8 sitting in my comics. Like it's
Very
crazy.
exciting. Very
That's
exciting.
awesome.
All right.
That would be a fun thing to do in the future one. Send in 5 books that we think are definitely 9.8s and what is our percentage grade. Even if it's 10, we get 10% for every 9.8 that we get back
Mhm.
from CGC.
Yeah.
And then see how close we get to picking out our 9.8 books out of our collection and getting our 9.8s back.
I'm going to say this just to put it out in the universe and we don't forget it. Next time we get the opportunity to go to a comic book convention together, that should be another contest that we
Yes.
do. Like who can find, I don't know, something to grade a 9.8 or there's something there. Like some kind of comic
We could
book
definitely
find
Right.
or,
You know, it'd be fun
You know.
to vlog it, go around to different like places in the Comic Con, and just find a comic, and you're like, oh, look how nice this looks. This is a 9.8.
Mhm.
Buy it and then put it.
Doesn't
into
even
the
have to be a
convention.
great book, but like maybe just
Yeah,
like
just whatever.
here's a Dazzler #1. I think this will get a 9.8. You know, this is going to be fun. You know,
We do the budget thing again too. It's like,
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
let's do
Mhm.
it's like a $25 budget, a $50 budget, or a $100 budget. Like day 1 could be like $25. Day 2 could be $50 because the best stuff
Mhm.
sells earlier in the convention.
Mm,
And then so by the time it's on day 4, you have the largest budget, but everything that's good's gone.
yeah. But also you get
You know
people
what I mean?
clearing out that last of that stuff that's hanging on. So a lot
Yes,
of
you might get a
interesting things
better
happening.
deal, but
Yeah.
how much high grade stuff's left?
Mhm. Totally. That's fun. So there's something cooking there. So stay tuned for that. I guess I'll get started. Shall I?
I'm so excited.
Okay. So
I'm
I think-
excited for yours, but not because you're like trying to bring. You're like, you've been bringing yours down. You're like, you know what? Mine's not that good.
I don't-
You know.
I think it's good, but I think it has the potential to be the least exciting, and I think it's gonna be a while for when this blows up,
Mhm.
and you'll see why in a second. I think this is probably, I'm gonna bet, unless you guys bought the same book, this is the most modern book out of the three of us. Otherwise, we have the same book. Okay.
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 Obviously,
Let
it's
me know
a-
what year yours.
This book is weeks old.
Oh, okay.
So this is a 9.8. So I went the first appearance route. It's a first appearance of something, right? I wasn't gonna do this route, but this was really popular when it first came out. Now, I generally don't like when this happens, and I feel like it's gonna reveal exactly what this is once I say this. But I don't care. I'm just gonna say it. I don't like when they do this to characters and like they make a character a different character, like, oh, Jane Foster's Thor or Bucky is Captain. Like, I don't like it. Like, it never works out and it's not very fun. However, when Elektra took up the mantle of Daredevil, that was
Very
one
nice.
of the coolest like costumes for when another superhero took up a different superhero's mantle. The Elektra Daredevil
Yes.
costume is so cool, and I think it's it really fits. Like, I didn't buy it with Jane Foster or Bucky or Falcon or any of the other times, like this has happened, especially recently. But this time, like, her costume is so cool. Like, she looks, I would dare say, better than Daredevil, and it just seemed to make so much sense just because of what happened and how closely tied she is, like, with the Daredevil mythology. As far as, other people taking up a different superhero's mantle, I think this was one of the best times this has ever happened. And I went with the first printing just because I always believe in the first printing, and the variant cover with her on it is actually worth more. But I was able to grab a 9.8 of Daredevil 25, first appearance of Elektra as Daredevil for $99.99.
Very cool.
That's cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
very
I-
cool.
Cicchetto's art
What?
in that book. Marco Cicchetto's art in that book is amazing. That's
Yeah.
the two. Marco Cicchetto, I think, is one of the quickest rising artists that you're going to be hearing talk about more and more as time goes by.
Mhm.
Because, I mean, he did some good work on The Punisher. He's doing good work on Daredevil. He did good work on, I think it was Gamora. He did the art interiors on, and his art is just nails. Reminds me a lot of Michael Choi when Michael Choi was really hot back doing X-23 and doing X-Men and doing X-Force a few years back. Remember him
Yeah.
at all?
Yeah. Totally.
Did Witchblade for a while
Hmm.
too as well. But
I mean,
Chichetto is just an amazing artist, and that Elektra being Daredevil, good choice, man. That's awesome.
yeah. And
Yeah,
so,
I think that it makes sense too for, like you said, for the story. Like it's not like it's just some random person taking up, like they just pulled out of nowhere. Like it's someone who's continuously been in and around the character, that it makes a lot of sense.
or something that seems just forced for no reason. Like
Right.
Jane Foster was never a superhero. Like I always couldn't stand when they do that. Like she was never a superhero. Why is she have the hammer? Or like, and I know a lot of you guys like Flash Thompson as Venom, but like just let the human characters be the human characters. Like I mean they keep doing that like with A Bomb
Yeah.
and what's his face from the Hulk. So like I this time it felt good. She looks really cool. This book got really hot. The only controversy surrounding it was this came out the same day as another one of her appearances in was a Kingdom Black tie-in, I think. But people decided that this was the first appearance, even though it had the same release date. I mean, like sold out day
Well,
one.
as
And
long
like the
as that
second printing really
CGC
fast.
label says first appearance, right?
It doesn't say
Matters,
first
man.
appearance. They're not acknowledging it right underneath, but it says Elektra becomes the new Daredevil on the side here, on this part of the
Right.
in the
So
description.
I would assume that that would be the
The general consensus keeps it at this one, and it's more significant. She did have another appearance that came out the same day, but this is the quintessential first appearance. Um,
It's the story explanation, which should be the most important part of the story.
absolutely.
right.
Yeah, I like Elektra. You know, like I mean,
Cool.
obviously she's not one of like my favorite characters of all time or anything, but I mean, she's cool. This is a really cool version of her. It's a really cool version of Daredevil. I think it'll skyrocket in value because we see now we've gotten to the points where we are getting a Jane Foster Thor movie, right? Falcon it just became the new Captain America in Falcon and Winter Soldier, right? So Marvel is doing these things, you know, and the Daredevil rights are back, you know, at Marvel. So it's just a matter of time before we see Daredevil more closely interacting with the MCU. Is Elektra going to jump right into the Daredevil mantle? I don't know. I don't know if she's going to be dead, if they're ever going to use Elektra again. But in the off chance that if and when Daredevil comes back and they keep this going, I could see them making Elektra a Daredevil. It just might be a few years from now. I could be wrong. I just think it's a possibility, just because we see now that they're not scared to do that in the movies too. So that's why I picked it.
Yeah,
It might
Chip
be too
Zdarsky.
much of a long-term investment, but it is what it is.
Plus, the writer Chip Zdarsky has been making Daredevil more popular again
Oh
with
yeah,
some new characters he's been introducing during this whole run. I mean, the Kingpin being Mare's story and him getting most everybody under his thumb during the storyline
yeah.
has been like very, very well received. I mean, it kind of reminds me a little bit of like Frank Miller's Daredevil storytelling back in the
Mhm.
day, and that's some of the most popular Daredevil storytelling of all time.
Yeah, no kidding. That's a great point. I honestly I haven't read much of it. I was aware that this happened and I thought it was cool, but I didn't get into it. But you know, now that I kind of put my money where my mouth is, um, maybe I will buy some of those comics just to read them.
It's awesome.
So what's
Mhm.
next?
Right. All right. Well, I guess I'll go next. Mine's actually kind of similar to Blades, and I went with a modern comic. And I think you kind of have to go modern for the budget that we had. Um, it is a different printing variant because this
Mm.
comic does go for a lot more money depending on the prints you got. Just like you said, Blake, because she's on the cover, it goes for a lot
And
more money.
I don't like that. I don't agree with it. I respect people wanting the cooler art, but to me, first print is the print, you know. But that also kept it under $100. But that's just my
So-
personal collecting.
So
taste.
mine's a second print. Okay, there's multiple prints. There's some variants. This one's probably one of the cheaper ones. Okay, I paid $85 for it.
Okay.
Um, it's obviously a 9.8, and this one's a first appearance, and I think this one is going to be huge because of who it is and what's going on in not only MCU but also in the Sonyverse. So I have a first appearance of Null, Venom
Oh
number
yeah,
3,
that was on my radar.
9.8.
Nice.
So this is the second printing of it. With Miles Morales on the cover, which I don't think is going to hurt because Miles Morales is probably going to be, I think,
Well, that's an homage
relevant
cover
soon.
to where Venom is standing over as an iconic. Was it? It's Todd McFarlane, right?
Spider-Man 316 homage.
Mhm.
It's an homage to Spider-Man 316,
Yeah.
the McFarlane one.
Yep.
Amazing.
So I think with what Marvel's doing, right, and Sony, they have a deal that we really don't really know everything about it yet. And them making a new character like Null, who is capable of, potentially destroying the entire, Marvel universe, right? I think that's important for one, who has the rights to him because he's a brand new character made, right? So is that a Marvel thing or is that a Sony thing now? Do they get the rights? What kind of deal did they make? And now Sony's pushing this. Oh, they have the Venom and Carnage movie coming out. It's all about the symbiotes. They're pushing really hard for the bad guys. They're doing all bad guy movies. So is this going to lead into something like Null to try to develop the whole thing with the symbiotes more? And everything that they've been doing when it comes to toys, pops, whatever, it's always like, oh, venomize this, venomize that. And it seems like that they're really pushing hard, not only in the comics, but the toys and the Sony movies. That I think this has lots of legs and there's lots of potential, I think, for a Null to show up in one of these movies.
I totally see that because like they were building Donny Cates built up Null so well for the King Black crossover. How can you not want to see that guy on film? I mean, that would be unbelievable. And I think a lot of Venom fans, you're right, dude, would say, okay, if we're building towards Null, we're on board. And that's, I love how you got the second printing cover that is an homage collector because you're reaching out not only to Null fans, but you're reaching out to homage collectors too. And Miles Morales. So you have three different reasons to get that book, or three different types of customers that would be looking for that book, which would push up the value on it even that much more.
Absolutely.
Very, very awesome choice, Lance, dude.
Like you collect homage covers, right? So like
I do. I
there
collect
are,
the Spider-Man McFarlane #1 homage covers anywhere I can.
and that oh, I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it.
Yeah, so this is the one I went with. It's great, came out, it's Venom number 3. It came out in 2018 in October. So yeah, I mean,
2018. Wow. It came out in 2018.
Well, this is his first appearance. I think it was.
I can't believe it was that
he
long
didn't
ago.
appear for a while.
Oh, really?
I'm pretty sure, right? Didn't he like appear and then it like kind of went away and then it was like this whole huge thing that happened in the comics with the King in Black and.
Yeah, and some people like say the Thor #6 is his first like his origin story, which I don't quite understand because the sword he got the Null sword that he started building the symbiotes off of, which was explained in the Venom story.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a the road to Null starts over in Jason Aaron's Thor run. And isn't that right? Like Thor, like what was his name? That oh man, the villain, the god, not the God Breaker, the God Slayer, the God,
the God Butcher.
God Butcher. Thank you, dude. Yeah, and the God Butcher was what partially led to Null being created in the first place.
Huh. Interesting.
But,
and the God Butcher is coming up in a Thor movie. That's very interesting.
So you may see the road to Null set up there to set up Spider-Man or Venom, whatever they're going to be doing with that there.
Oh, crazy.
Who knows? Like I said too, but that would be quite awesome to see, them doing the King in Black is like a massive Thanos type of thing, Null being like the next Thanos bad if they wanted to do the whole Sony Marvel thing again. And then this time, the Venomverse gets to build up Null's the threat. Then they do the big movie crossover, like Spider-Man was brought over into the MCU. You bring Null over into the MCU as the big bad. And oh my gosh, dude, that would be insane having the Marvel Universe have to take out Null.
And like I said, I don't know who has the rights because his first appearance is in 2018. So is that a Sony thing property or is that a Marvel property because it's brand new?
I think it depends.
I'm pretty sure it's still Sony property because he was created in the Venom universe still. Or actually, no, you know what? Because Thor, it depends on the Thor semantics on it. You're right, dude. If they can say they can justify the Thor semantics of how he was created is more Thor than Venom.
Whose book?
I don't
whose
know,
book was it in?
What do you mean by whose book?
Is it a Spider-Man book? Like, what was it again?
It's Venom number 3.
Interesting.
And Venom's part of Sony's Willwell, right? Because of the Spider-Man connection?
Yeah. So probably. So they probably just made a character for Sony. So maybe it's for a crossover event for the Sonyverse, and we'll see how much of the
Could be because
Marvel.
Because if Marvel's obviously making these books, so why would they make a character for them and then make it this huge event that the Avengers fight and all these other crazy people fight if they weren't saying, hey, we're going to help you guys with this character, but we're going to help you like bridge the gap so that way this is a better connected universe.
That's what I was just like mentioning before. Yeah. It's like that Null can be built up in the Sonyverse,
right?
But the big crossover movie, Null's still the bad guy, but you get to bring the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe into the game. But then afterwards, you still have Spider-Man Universe all on its own. It's just Null is the big bad in the next Spider-Man Marvel crossover.
Interesting.
I see all you guys right now listening, pulling up eBay, looking at Venom number 3 right now. Just kidding.
Yeah.
There was a lot of King in Black stuff, on the radar going through stuff, but I'm not going to say anything else until Ken goes because I don't know what you decided.
All right, I got a little head start there. Let me start pulling out off screen there.
He's
it
unwrapping.
Is out of Minnesota. This is gonna give a shout out to the seller, Twin City Comics, out of Zimmerman, Minnesota.
Nice.
Or Minnesota. I don't know.
Minnesota.
Anybody know where Zimmerman is?
Don't offend all of our Minnesota listeners.
Yes, dude. And it looks like it's very well bubble wrapped.
Little ASMR bubble wrapping.
Good.
Very,
good
very
packaging.
pleased.
What do we got in the back there? I think I see an ad. Or no, is it the front?
I am.
What's the newer book?
It is a modern book too, as well.
Definitely is.
Can you guys guess what it is?
You want me to guess? I think I know what it is.
Can I guess? Who's guessing first?
Well, I'm going to be right, so you go first.
Silk number 1.
My guess is it's an homage cover to that Todd McFarlane Spider-Man by Peach Momoko.
Close. Okay. Well, it is a Marvel book, so you guys both got that right.
Okay.
But I was kind of going with the popularity of Star Wars right now, just being on fire.
Oh, interesting.
The High Republic number 1. Even though the story has not grabbed me, the way Disney Plus just makes stuff out of nowhere really quickly, and the fact that both IDW and Marvel are doing High Republic comics is they're really trying hard to get people interested in these characters. So that gives me the hint that Disney's got something up their sleeve on it.
Definitely.
This is the B cover. The B cover, ironically, was $10 less than the A cover.
Okay.
But it has more first appearance characters on the cover than the A cover. But they're different first appearance characters. So I kind of was thinking of this like giant size X-Men philosophy is there's multiple first appearance characters in a number 1 book. B cover, it was $69.99. I said, you know what? After a lot of deliberation of everything I was looking at, I said, this has got to be the one I go with, as much as that I'm not totally sold on the story itself.
Yeah.
But I think Star Wars has just got some kind of magic among comic book collectors and CGC collectors especially.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that $69.99 was a passing price that I couldn't pass up on it.
Yeah.
So it's got the first appearances of Keeve Trennis, Skier, Loden Greatstrom, Stellan Gios, and I can't even pronounce this last one, Vemistra Rowe, all listed on the cover. So
Mhm.
anytime I see something that's got not just one first appearance, but 4, 5 first appearances listed in the
Nice.
first issue,
Mhm.
I think it's a safe bet.
Yeah.
So I don't know how I'm gonna do, because once again, I'm sure it was one of the highest print run modern Star Wars books in the marketplace,
Yeah.
because everybody saw this coming. Marvel did a great job marketing it. Disney did a great job marketing it. So that's my only on it, is like that. It was really hot when it first came out and it's died down. So it's in a down dip right now.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping it's going to climb back up over time, because as I said too, is like the Star Wars fans are really picky about what they like and don't like in Star Wars. And I think it's a slow burn of what's happening with this book. And I hope that something major happens that just gets that Star Wars universe talking right now. I think it's really right now that bounty hunter war is kind of taking away a lot of heat from this, because anytime you have a Boba Fett story kick off in the past 2 months, it's been fire right now. All I'm selling is Boba Fett like bounty hunter crossovers,
Yeah.
bounty hunter crossovers right now, and this has kind of died off because of the excitement of what's going on with the bounty hunter wars. And so I'm hoping it's going to bounce back once the first major reveal happens in the storyline of like what's going to be the shocking moment. Just like Kanan took some time for their back issues to pop, and now all of a sudden like everyone's going nuts on Kanan books. And I think it's obviously the Ahsoka, there's the Sabine Wren going on inside of Kanan, and there's multiple first appearances in Kanan #1 and in #6. So
Really.
maybe, do you know what I mean? But they had story content for all these characters right away in this book. So I'm hoping this is going to go the way of Kanan as time goes on the Star Wars
Nice.
#1.
Big up. That was definitely on my radar. Interesting. We all did first appearances here. Like
Yes.
I wasn't gonna do it, but once this, I caught this listing like almost as soon as it popped up, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go with this one. Electro.
Well,
was-
first
Yeah.
appearances just
That's
have they have so much potential for for like not only like tripling, but like you can go up by like 5, 10 times. Like it's different for like other things that aren't like first appearances or just like could just be popular books. Those might go up to like, oh, they went from like a $15 book to like $100 book. But usually first appearances, they'll go from like a $50 book to like a $700 book all of a sudden because it's a first appearance, right? So it's just, I think it was just doing a first appearance is just a better bang for your buck when you're especially when you're talking about doing a whole competition, right?
Yeah.
I almost I was very, very close to getting a Peach Momoko
Nice.
book. There was a
Yeah.
ton of them right now, and I've been watching Strange Academy #1 for a while, and then I stopped looking, and I regret not buying it for like $25-$30 because it shot up.
Popped.
Yep, because there's a Peach Momoko exclusive variant of the character Magic on Strange Academy #1, and now it's a really expensive book. So I thought you couldn't really go wrong with any Peach Momoko art. One I almost bought, and Lance, I don't know if you have this cover. Do you have the Black Cat #1?
Black Cat one? I almost bought that.
I almost bought it too. Like this is one of my favorite Black Cat covers. It is awesome. Peach Momoko cover, obviously that's what we're talking about here, because there's a buy it now right now for $80 on.
That's a steal.
That's a great deal. And I think I saw a Peach Momoko. I'm pretty sure it was going for under $100. It was a Spider-Man homage cover to.
Oh,
you didn't see that?
If I didn't already have it, I would have put that on my radar.
Okay,
The
so you do
Spider-Man
have it.
#1. Yes, the Momoko homage of Spider-Man #1.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it's like that one's freaking sick too.
Yeah, I saw it and I was like, I hope Ken knows about this. And I figured you did. Another cool one, and
There's a couple
ended.
expensive ones that have come out that I just don't want to spend the money on. Like they put out a Turtles one recently, and
Yeah.
they put out a few other ones that I'm going like, yeah, I'm not going to spend $200-300 on a McFarlane Spider-Man homage cover just because someone thinks it's super scarce right now.
Yeah, I totally feel you there. Another one that was on my radar, there's a CGC 9.8. It just sold for $81 today. Darth Maul #1, Michael Turner Aspen sketch variant exclusive.
Ooh, that's awesome.
So I thought that
Yeah, I
might-
don't have the sketch variant one. I have the color one, but I don't
Do
have the
ya?
black and white one.
I thought it might
That
have been
sounds
cool,
good.
but I don't know. Just something about it just felt a little off.
Another
Um,
one that I was debating, like as a too, like it's so hard because I like that Phil Noto cover of this book that I got so much
Yeah.
better
yeah.
than this cover.
hmm
But it's just like that. I said too, the multiple people on there. And there was also a Batman book that just recently came out that I think is gonna pop really quickly. Is that Batman #102 with the Ghostmaker's first full appearance?
Okay.
Because by issue 106, a guy that was just making you thought would be a throwaway character appearance at the end of issue 106, he was all of a sudden actually 105. I'm sorry, not 106, but by the time 105 was out, he decided to stay in Gotham City and join the fight as one of the new Batman Gotham characters.
Yeah.
And super cool costume. And it said too, he's going to start appearing. Supposedly, there's rumors that he's going to be in the Batwoman TV series coming up here soon too. So they're going to introduce him into television already.
Yeah.
That's kind of to me like anytime they introduce a character that quickly from comics to TV, I think they actually had the character designed for TV first,
Hmm.
and they asked the writer to write him into the comic. Same thing happened with Ryan Wilder, the new Batwoman, after Ruby Rose, the Kathy Kane Batwoman, stepped down.
Mhm.
They introduced Ryan Wilder was already announced was going to be the new Batwoman character, but nobody knew who she was, and so they introduced her in Batgirl #50.
Mhm.
And so, as I said too, like Batgirl #50 hasn't popped quite yet, which blows me away that that's the core character of that TV show, and her first appearance is still going for less than $20. To
Mhm.
me, is kind of interesting. But then this Ghostmaker character, as I said too, it's just like I can get his first appearance CGC 9.8 for less than $70, $60. It's to me, it's a risk that would be worth taking for people to get Batman 102. Either the Matina cover or the regular cover where he's fighting Batman, I think is the better cover to get because you get both Batman and Ghostmaker together on the cover together.
Nice. So I'm glad you brought that up because the first thing I was going to buy, and it slipped away from me. It sold for $99.99. It was first appearance, and I didn't feel good about it because it was DC and everything you just said. Like there's a character coming up in a DC show, and I was like, you know what? I don't like the DC shows, and that's okay if you guys like it. Like that's fine. I respect that. But like, why am I going to bet on something I don't believe in? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like that's not what they
absolutely.
tell you to do in stocks. Like believe in it, right? So I let this go, and maybe I shouldn't have, but they said that the character spoiler is going to be up on one of the
Uh,
upcoming. I don't know if it was Batwoman or what it was, but there was a Detective
Stephanie Brown,
Comics
right?
648. It sold for 9.8, and it was the first appearance of spoiler. Sold for 99.99, and I almost
Yeah.
bought it, but I was like, you know what? Because if they blow it, this isn't going to go anywhere. And since it's DC in the show, is like I'm betting on them blowing it. So
The one thing you got going for that book is
uh-huh.
it's over 25 years old now.
Yeah, no, I know.
And that's something that's a plus to that book for sure. Is like that.
100%.
It's I think it's 25 years, isn't it? From 1997, 98.
Let's see. Detective Comics 648.
Might even be
Came.
earlier than that.
It
Like
doesn't say
94,
in
95.
the. It doesn't say in the listing. I mean, obviously, we can Google it real quick. It's a Chuck Dixon story, if that means anything.
I think it's like 94, 95, to tell the truth.
But I mean, you're right. I mean, there's a little. It says 92
92, so even earlier. Yeah. So
according to my comic.
that came out the same year Spawn #1 came out. You know
Wow.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And next year Spawn's 30 years old. So you may see like a push on Stephanie Brown as she gets closer to her 30-year mark as a character. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see them do something where they bring back Spoiler in a major way because she's already been Batgirl once.
Yeah.
And It's like that. I think she was my favorite Batgirl other than Barbara Gordon,
Yeah.
which I thought I remember those Archerm covers that were on those Batgirl books are like white hot right now because of one, you got Archerm, and two, you got a Batgirl you don't see very often with his artwork on it.
I remember
She did
you
a cool
bringing
costume as Batgirl too.
Yeah, I remember you bringing that up when we did the Birds of Prey episode. Bringing up Spoiler, and that was the first time I heard of Spoiler, I think. So once I saw that announcement that the character was going to be making her small screen debut, I thought it might have been a good bet. It still might be, but it sold. So I mean, hey, I'm sure there's other Detective Comics 648 out there. Maybe that's something to get on people's radars there. But that was the first one I was gonna go with before I made my ultimate decision here.
How about you, Lance? Dude, anything else you were looking at, dude, that was just like,
Well, I was going for first appearance of Cindy Moon.
Nice.
So who ends up being Silk.
Nice.
It was I think it's a cameo, but it's like it kept hitting. It's like it seems like it's hitting at like the 150-ish, 140 range. Now there might be some bids that you probably get it for maybe a little cheaper, but I just didn't really have the time to like get those bids to go. But some of her stuff, like her as Silk or Silk #1, those are like relatively they're under 200, but maybe like a little over 100. But I think those are really good books to potentially get. The other book I was looking at, I'm trying to find what it was, but it was also a DC book. But again, I had the same thought process. It's like it's DC. So
it's funny. We were just like, no, there was no faith.
But it was the new book. What's it called? The first appearance. It was the first appearance of the
Punchline.
The new guy. Who's the new guy that they did? That everyone's like, oh, who's this guy?
Oh, Clown Hunter or
like no.
Red X, because Red X isn't new.
Yeah.
No, then it was something else. Maybe
there was
something that was like really new.
Punchline was a newer.
Is that what it was?
DC character.
Red X. You might be right, because the Teen Titans Academy, there's this new Red X that it's not Dick Grayson, so people are trying to guess who it is, and they already acknowledged that Dick Grayson was the original Red X, and even Dick's perplexed about like, who is this? Do you know what I mean? That's trying to take on my moniker.
I think that's what it was, because I think it was the first appearance of the new Red X, because whoever the person is, because it's obviously different, but the comic was definitely under 100, and I was considering getting it, but then I was like, it's probably not, even if they do something with it, it's probably not gonna be good. So why am I gonna do it? So
yeah, that's why I didn't get the Punchline #1 Peach Momoko variant. And because I thought it was cool too, because Peach Momoko recently signed a deal with Marvel, so there's only going to be so many DC and indie books out there. But I mean, it's already not doing that great, right? Because there's one for $50 right here. So I was like, nah.
Wow.
You know what I mean? It's cool art though. So I was willing to bet on Peach Momoko.
There was another one. It was the first appearance of the Thieves Guild.
The Thieves
from
Guild?
Black Cat. From Black Cat, Lance.
Yeah, but I want to say the first appearance is in like a Gambit comic or something.
Oh, is that the one that's from like X-Men #6 or 7?
No, I want to say it's like
Jim Lee's
Gambit
X-Men?
#1 or something.
Okay.
Interesting.
It's like, what was Belladonna's first appearance? Because wasn't that his first wife?
Did they actually get married? I know there was that whole weird thing with the
or was that just something like that? An arranged marriage that was
something like that. I don't know that they actually got married, because she has
maybe that's why he went on the run.
Thing. Yeah.
And then I was also looking at Odessa Drake, because I was trying to see
what's Odessa Drake.
She's like the leader of the Thieves Guild.
Oh. Yeah, that might have been.
She's just been in Black Cat.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it was kind of. But the problem is, because even though it's just like a random, like it's like Gambit number
Oh.
one.
Okay, so Assassins. Oh yeah, you're right. Gambit number one. Assassins.
It's actually Gambit number one's kind of expensive, but her is Amazing Spider-Man number 5. Not
Oh, that's interesting.
so that one I was looking at, but it was, I don't know. Some of these is just kind of hard because I feel like at what point am I just like kind of grasping for straws?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the cool
know.
thing about that one, Lance, too, is that's also the second appearance of Silk
Right.
in that number 5. So you have like two like people that can't afford the first appearance of Silk. Because have you seen this phenomenon going on the internet now?
Yeah, it's
People are immediately trying to get the second appearances because they're being priced out of the first appearance market, and which is pushing up the values of second appearances.
Wow.
makes sense.
Supply and demand, huh?
Like I tell people, like X-Force number 2 is probably one of your most affordable second appearances since Deadpool's so popular.
I've got a couple
And
of those.
it's his, yeah, dude, his second full appearance. Because people said, oh, he was in New Mutants number 100 and X-Force number 1 is, or was it X-Force number 1 or New Mutants 100 he was in, briefly cameoed in?
I think it's New Mutants, but don't quote me on that.
Got it. Because I know 98 was obviously his first
Yep.
full appearance, and then it was like either, I can't remember if it was the last issue of New Mutants or the first issue of X-Force where they
Right.
referenced him, where GW Bridge hired him to go find Cable or something like that.
Yeah. Well, I guess we can say spoilers, right? Because at some point he ships him back to Mr. Tolliver, right? Like doesn't he like chop him to pieces and ship him back? You know, and you just kind of think that's the end of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, X-Force number 2. Like, yeah, I remember hunting that book down. You know, when I was, doing my Deadpool collection.
Trust me, I remember trying to hunt down Tales of Suspense number 40. That's a rough book
Goodness.
to try to get it.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's like, oh, here's another $600. Great.
Okay, did you have any other books on your radar that you wanted to talk about?
Dude, I was a little bit fascinated with Punchline. I was looking at that pretty hardcore because 89's once again that second appearance formula, because 89 I think is really overinflated for her just appearing in 1 or 2 panels.
Yeah.
And then 92 was like her first full get to see the kind of action and terror that she can lay out there.
Yeah.
I thought she was a joke. I thought they're going to kill her off at the end of Joker War. She's still around. They're still building up her character. Like any character that's associated with the Joker for whatever reason tends to do pretty well for itself. And maybe it's just I'm seeing so much of the Harley Quinn phenomenon over the years, and it's good to see a bad that can work with the Joker again. And she's not like, how would you say it? In love with the Joker. She's enamored with his philosophies, and there's some potential growth for that character over time. And I don't know what they're going to do with her long term, but they keep on building layers to the onion of her rather than her getting more boring. She's getting more interesting, and that was kind of fascinating to me too, to see like, okay, now that she's been around for a year, some of that shine's worn off, and it may be a good time to start getting those Punchline appearances taken care of before they shoot up again. But 89's like about $185 for a CGC 9.8, which I think is a steal for how important that book is into the Punchline mythos. But then there's that Hell Arisen number 3 that gets argued about. Is that her first appearance or is it Batman 89? And you see her full figure appearance in the Hell Arisen number 3, but that story is so horrible. I mean, all she is standing next to Joker with like not really much verbiage or anything that has to really contribute to the story plot, other than she's Joker's right hand character inside of that story. So I guess you could say it's more of a first appearance than the Batman 89, and the Hell Arisen number 3 tends to go for more than the Batman 89 right now. So if it's too complicated for me to figure out what's the true first appearance, I try to stay away from those type of things and go for that Batman 92, which is half the 75% less, and you get to confirm like this is Punchline, this is who this character is, this is how this character operates, and I see a lot of potential and stuff like that.
I find it interesting though that I'm fairly confident in my pick, right? Blade was just kind of like, and Ken, you were pretty confident in yours too. But like Blade spent the most money out of everybody else here in his pick. And then I spent the second most and Ken spent the least. Which is interesting though, because like if Ken goes up to like $120, Blade, yours has to go to 200 to even get to his percentage.
Wow.
Because you said you paid like $65, right?
Yeah, I was trying to like
so $130 would be double.
Yeah, dude. Like I didn't want to go above 80. Do you know what I mean? Was what I was looking at because I wanted some room for growth. Because if it just say for instance hits 100, I at least made. Do you know what I mean? What would that be like a 25% gain? You know what I mean on it because the 20 divided by it'd be a 25% gain on me if I get it under 80 or below guaranteed. Because it's if something happens like if it goes from 100 to 110, that's only about a 9% or 10% gain at the most on that. And so I kind of saw like that, okay, I got to keep it below 80 for myself. That way, if I'm going to stay competitive with this, if this book doesn't do anything, I'm hoping that's going to be $100 book pretty easily because of what it is, what's in the book, rather than me just hoping I like this book so much. And that's the frustrating with me too, because I wanted to get something I really liked because that makes it more fun for me. But then I'm going, okay, I like Star Wars, but God, these characters really aren't that entertaining to me. You know what I mean? But
that's why
as I said too, like certain Star Wars characters, I'm gonna be like burned on the internet, like on these message boards talking about this, but I was not that enamored with Ahsoka when I first saw her inside of Clone Wars.
That's
going, what's the big deal about this? And now I get it as I've seen her as a more of a mature Jedi and what she means to the Star Wars universe. And so I'm saying, well, maybe I could catch that magic in the bottle again. Is like people, once they see her in other arenas besides the comic book, they'll go, oh, that Queen of Trevis, dude, she's awesome. She was one of the first young Jedis of the Old Republic, and you got to see her story be told, and but as I said too, there's a lot of controversy behind these characters right now, and it's going to take time for them to develop.
The High Republic, wait, is that the book that we both had?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, as I said, like just right there, Lance, that says it all, dude. There's not much buzz behind it yet.
5 or 6 hours, 6 hours into that book.
Mm-hmm.
Of the I stopped and I never went back to it. It just took forever for anything to happen, and I still didn't get anything. And it was like still waiting for like the big reveal. And I was like, I just don't even care at this point. Like I'm just over it. You didn't give it to me at this point, and I'm done. I haven't read it since. It's been like 4 months. I was like, you know what, whatever.
Yeah,
maybe really it'll hook me back later.
So I'm saying like it's because. That's the too. Like if I didn't see stuff going like with the Knights of the Old Republic buzz beginning to take off on the internet, it's frustrating to say that a Star Wars universe comic or storytell with books, you know what I mean? Like it's inside Star Wars Insider magazine, it's inside Star Wars comics right now. They're really pushing hard on this. But the fans are kind of not enamored with it yet. Mm-hmm. And I said too, I've never seen anything like this in Star Wars before. So I'm hoping like they know more than we do because they understand Star Wars better than we do. But there's not much that hasn't been fascinating in Star Wars ever. Right. And so I'm hoping like that once again, like once we see the first cartoon or we see the first in motion tease of it, that people are just going to go nuts on it, because the only thing that's holding it back right now is that it was so heavily ordered because it was new Star Wars and it was new characters and it was a lot of new characters. And so there's going to be a lot of copies out there. But then again, once again, Star Wars fan base surpasses comic book fan base. And so if there's like 250,000 copies of this book printed and there's 2.5 million Star Wars fans that are looking for it, it doesn't matter. It's only it's one of the highest printed Star Wars comics in modern time. It's gonna be sought after, and the price will happen. Like Kanan, that's why I said Kanan's my closest comparable to it, is because Kanan's a character that took some time for people to fall in love with, but then once they did, it's like everybody's all about that. Kanan and Ezra and Sabine, and it may not even be like I keep on forgetting her name now. I apologize. Keeve Trennis, who's the main character, maybe another character among that group that pops amongst fans.
Yeah.
Like it's supposed to be Anakin, but Ahsoka's, do you know what I mean? She's just as popular now as Anakin when it comes to the big picture of things. And she was just kind of like a subplot character that was not supposed to be such a major character, what you're seeing develop now in the characters.
Yeah, I collect Ahsoka stuff, and I don't collect Anakin.
Yeah, that's what you see what I mean. It's like that cult followings happen in Star Wars, just like that.
Yeah,
just to take something major for the character to resonate with fans.
You never know what happens. All right. Well, anything else before we wrap this up?
Fun episode, you guys, dude. It's really fun to.
Yeah. Oh, I enjoyed it. It was fun. I've been dying to tell you guys. I'm like, oh my gosh, look what I had.
Yes, dude.
The hardest thing was keeping the secret. You know?
I gotta say, dude, Lance's cover is definitely the coolest looking cover. Not just me being biased as a McFarlane fan.
Yeah, you like that.
Miles Morales, dude, and that Null soldier on there, or not the Null. What they call those? What they call the symbiote soldiers? It may be. What are those guys called?
I didn't read it.
Are nullified. But yeah, dude, I'm drawing a blank right. Does it say on there at all, like what the nullified soldiers are or anything on there?
It doesn't. You think it would say it on there?
Well, I guess it's not a first appearance.
It just says Miles Morales appearance on it, which is kind of crazy that it says Miles Morales appearance on it.
It should mention that it's like an homage cover too. I'm surprised it doesn't, because that's like a thing. It's like a thing. You know. I
know it doesn't. It doesn't say first full Null on there.
It says first full appearance of Null, and then it says Spider-Man Miles Morales appearance.
Interesting. Oh, yeah, it's gonna be interesting to watch the tracking of these as we go. Like I said, we're gonna check in at the 1 month mark, the 3 month mark, the 6 month mark, and then we'll see if it's worth following up at the 1 year point. Yeah, I mean, you guys are gonna come along on this adventure with us, and this is already fun. So I'm assuming we're gonna do more things like this. Maybe we'll get together and maybe we'll teach Ken about Pokemon cards and do a little Pokemon card one. I know Lance and I are gearing up to send some things into CGC. I think we might do a little competition coming up where we guess the grades we're going to get on these books. So we're all going to look at the books we're sending in. We're going to pick 3 of them, and we're going to see who gets the closest to the grade without going over. We're going to do, some Price is Right rules or something like that. It'll be fun. So these are the kind of little things we're cooking up, and I think it's going to be, we're going to do it, right?
Yeah, I'm down.
Okay. Yeah. If you enjoy the episode, let us know on social media. Follow us on social media, and you can keep up to date on all the fun stuff we have going on. We're at Nightcap Chat on Facebook and Twitter, and Nightcap_chat on Instagram. What do you think are some good 9.8 investments? Do you have any 9.8 investments that you've made that have really paid off? Let us know on social media. Ken?
Hey guys, thanks for listening. This is once again, dude, one of my favorite things to talk about with you guys. Obviously, is comic books, because we are at Drawn to Comics in downtown Glendale at 5801 West Glendale Avenue. You can also find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and we appreciate all of your support as well. And thank you for listening.
And you can catch me on Twitch at Tales of Lance, and Twitter, Instagram at Tales of Lance. And let me know if you guys bought any of the comics that we bought. It'd be cool to see. Be like, hey, you sold me. I bought a 9.8 of the Daredevil, and I think Elektra is gonna be big, or whatever it is. Just let us know. That'd be cool to see.
Yeah, we appreciate you all taking the time to listen. We love you. Be safe, and we'll catch you all next week.
Thank you for listening, everybody.
Have a good week.